we're ready to begin the Library Commission's August 17th meeting. This is a teleconference meeting with Library Commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating remotely to ensure proper social distancing in this federal, state, and local emergency. As the chair, I would like to introduce staff and Library Commission members present. We have Mayrin Buyagit, Alan Cohen, David Earhart, Sukanya Guha, myself, Katie Hadrovich, Kristen Leap, and Yen Tran. Also staff present include Sean Reinhart, the Director of Library and Community Services, and Nick Shegda, Assistant Library Services Director. Nick is also the staff liaison for the Library Commission. Nick, is there any other staff that I haven't mentioned that's tuned in while I was speaking?
Our business manager, Ronnie Singh, is in the attendees, but I don't think she's going to be participating in the meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, Nick, would you please provide instructions to the Library Commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Sure. So this is a teleconference meeting. If you're familiar with the City Council meetings or the last month's Library Commission meeting, we'll work our way through the agenda, pausing for the opportunity for public comment. If you're a member of the public in attendance and you have comments that you'd like to make when public comment is called for, please put a message in the chat window for me, or put that little raise hand symbol on and wait to be recognized. I'll then turn on your, allow you to speak, and then you can make your public comment to the commission. If you have any questions for the staff on the technical side, you can send me a chat, but the library commissioners will not be looking at or responding to chat from the members of the public because it would violate the Brown Act.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
All right, perfect. All right, the first item then is public comment. So under public comment, the public may address the Library Commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the Library Commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction in which you live. The Library Commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda, and therefore the Library Commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. So Nick, do we have any public comment for items not on the agenda?
I will ask if any member of the public wants to make a comment to the commission for an item that is not on the agenda. Please let me know now by either typing me a message in the chat window or pressing that little raise hand button on your screen. Seeing none.
Okay. All right. So I don't know how long we're supposed to wait, but all right. If that's the case, we can move on to regular business. So under regular business, the Library Commission considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters or administrative actions that require Library Commission approval. So D1 of our agenda is to approve the minutes from the July 17th, 2020 Library Commission meeting. Are there any clarifying questions from the commission before taking public comment on this matter? No? Okay. Nick, do we have any public comment on this item?
I do not see any hands raised, and I don't see any messages in chat.
Okay, in that case, let's open this for the Library Commission discussion. Anyone have any discussion on the minutes from our last meeting? No. All right. So Nick, would you please state the motion for us?
Sure. The motion is to approve. I'm sorry, Commissioner Lee.
I think maybe we do have a comment.
I move that we approve the minutes as attached to our agenda.
Okay, do I have a second for the stated motion?
Second.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go through and do the roll call since that's the way we are supposed to do it with the meetings. So I'll start on the order of my screen. Commissioner Hadrovich, how do you vote?
To approve.
Commissioner Bunyadgit,
Approve.
Commissioner Earhart,
Approve.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Leap,
Approve.
Commissioner Tran,
Approve.
and Commissioner Guha.
Approve.
The motion passes unanimously.
Wonderful. Okay, so the next item of business is to assign commission liaisons to other affiliate groups. We did have a staff report on that. And Nick, I see that you're going to make a very brief verbal presentation giving us the historical precedent and the utility of past practice.
Sure, well, that sounds more highfalutin probably than what my verbal presentation will be, but I wrote it, so I guess I'm going to do it. Previous library commissions have found it useful to assign a member as sort of an informational liaison with other library affiliate groups, those being Friends of the Library, Menlo Park Historical Association, the Menlo Park Library Foundation, and Project Read Literacy Partners, now just called Literacy Partners, which is the fundraising arm for the library's adult literacy program. So last month, Chair Hadrovich asked if we weren't going to do that again, since we had seated some new commissioners. The past practice has been that an informational liaison so assigned would try to attend public meetings if they could. They would make contact with the chair or other officers of those affiliate groups and basically serve as sort of a connection and an informational conduit between the two groups so that the Library Commission could stay informed on all of the things that the affiliate groups were doing and so that the affiliate groups would know what the Library Commission was doing. That's
Right.
about it.
Okay. Any clarifying questions from the commission before taking public comment on this item? No. Okay. Nick, do we have any public comment on this item?
I see a hand raised from Pam Jones. Pam, if you would like to make up, I'm sorry, hang on just a second. I have a commissioner
No.
comment. No?
She was
Oh,
just
she's waving
saying hello.
hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Pam. You're unmuted if you want to go ahead and speak. Or are we playing the mute, unmute? There we go.
We're playing the unmute thing.
Great.
Good late afternoon, Pam Jones, resident of Menlo Park. I want to first welcome all of the new members and thank you so much for your commitment to the city of Menlo Park. And I am a board member of the Menlo Park Historical Association. And so I really welcome having a liaison. We currently are holding meetings at one of our board members' home. They're physically distanced outdoors, so they're very safe. And as you know, the Historical Association members are not the youngest group in the city, so they're very careful. I personally call in, so if you chose to call in, that can be arranged too. So I really look forward for one of you being our liaison so that we can work to augment one another's work. So again, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jones. Are there any other public comments, Nick?
I do not see any other public comments at this time.
Okay, so then we can open it for the Library Commission discussion, and I'll just start just by saying that I think I've told you before, you may or may not recall that I'm actually a member of the Library Foundation, so I would volunteer to be the liaison to the Library Foundation, although certainly if any of you wanted to be the liaison to see what me and the rest of the foundation are up to, you're welcome to do that. So if it seems to me to make sense to just say we can clarify what any of these different affiliates do if you're unsure, and once everyone has a understanding that they feel comfortable with about what each of these liaisons does, then I'd love to just see volunteers. If we have more than one volunteer for the same one, then we can talk that through. And if we don't have any volunteers, I realize that everyone has different schedules and commitments. So there's no shame in saying that you don't have room for this extra component. Maybe some of us who have an interest in more than one can double up. Okay, so first off, is there anyone who would like to have some clarification on any of the specific affiliates? Yes, Mayrin.
I guess for me, because I have 2 young kids, as much as I would like to do it, I kind of wanted to know the commitment of when the meetings are to actually see if logistically if I could even attend them.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the one for, seems like the one that Ms. Jones had mentioned, but just I guess the dates and kind of times, if they're known.
Nick, do you know those off the top of your head, or Sean, do you?
What's that?
We can provide that information. I do know a number of them are kind of on like a totally different schedule right now because of the pandemic. But I would just offer that a liaison could easily fulfill the role just by like having a conversation with like the president of the group. And that might actually be more fruitful in some ways, just to kind of check in with them, get the latest and greatest that they're up to and report back. So it doesn't necessarily have to be attending a meeting.
Yeah, and actually I'll say too that I was loosely affiliating with the Historical Association, and I went to their ice cream social. I didn't, and this was like 6 months, 8 months, a year ago, I don't remember, but they were all set up under a tree on a Sunday afternoon, and I didn't know about I didn't go to any of their specific meetings, but I got to know some of the people. And then, you can, once you have a contact or someone you're familiar with, they are happy to I think, go back and forth over email. So I wouldn't discourage you if you're really interested in one, but you're not sure about meetings. There's really great ways to make that work. Alan, you go ahead.
Yeah, so Pam put in the chat that the Historical Society, at least currently, is meeting at 2 p.m. the first Monday of every month. So if you're someone who, I think many of us like myself right now are growing a beard and working from home and never leaving the house. Unless it conflicts with work things during the regular work week, so that one might be something that for members in the group who aren't working full time, or that may not conflict with the regular work schedule in the afternoons on Mondays. So that's a monthly meeting at 2. What might be helpful, Sean, is maybe if we're able to, or Nick, if you're able to get the current schedule that people have changed to accommodate COVID. And I'm going to guess that's probably going to be the way most of these meetings are held for the foreseeable future. And then if they have a sense of if they are able to ever return to what the schedule used to be, so that folks can at least get a fair assessment. Because I think, to Katie's point, I think everybody here will want to try to participate, but you want to make sure that if you're going to do that, you've made a commitment that it's at a time and it's on a calendar that will, at least for most cases, be applicable. Right.
Okay, well, that's a great point. So are we being inefficient with our time right now? Is it better to see who has an interest in a particular one, sort of flesh that out a little, and then those individuals can maybe think about it between this meeting and the next to see if they want to commit to it? Or do we want to just table this for now, come back at the next meeting where we have the logistics of what they do now and what they usually do, and then we divvy it up? Which seems more efficient, the second or the first? I see 2 people saying number 2. Okay, so maybe what I would suggest to everyone, if you already see one you think you might like to know more about, why don't you do just a little bit of your own homework on that one? But meanwhile, Nick probably is willing for us to track down the who, what, where, why, when, hows, and then bring it back to us.
Yeah, I put at the bottom of the calendar that of the commission agenda calendar.
Oh yeah.
The ones that I know of. So right now, Friends of the Library are meeting typically The second Monday of each quarter, they have a meeting at 1 p.m. The foundation typically meets the first Thursday of each month in the evening at 6:30. Literacy Partners typically meets the third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. I would have to go back and check. And the Historical Association meets the first Tuesday
Right.
of the month at 2. So I would have to go and I would go and check with those folks and make sure what their current one is. But that would also be a nice way to sort of reach out to them and if you wanted to, if you're interested in seeing it.
And you know,
I'm happy to do that.
although this is not exactly a library affiliate, Nick has made a note of the Parks and Recreation Commission at the bottom, and I can tell you that over the past couple years, I did volunteer to be the member of the Library Commission, that if there was a Parks and Rec meeting that seemed like it was going to overlap a little bit with some library stuff, I did go to that. So although they're not in the same category of library affiliates, I would invite all of you, if you're thinking about having the space in your life to take on a little bit of an extra duty, we might as well just roll that one into one that we're thinking about a little bit too. And so it looks like we've probably, is there anything else that anyone would want to say, or can we go ahead and move on to oh, do we need a motion to put this, we just start tabling it? Okay.
Yep.
All right, then D3, everyone ready? Review the Bellhaven Community Center and Library project updates. And we are going to have a brief verbal update from staff on the current status of the Bellhaven Community Center and Library project. Any clarifying questions from the commission? Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead. Go ahead.
It's okay. You can ask clarifying questions now if you want.
No. Go ahead and tell us what you'd like to tell us, and then we'll ask our clarifying questions.
My brief is going to be very brief, since not a lot has happened since last month. As I reported last month, the project is still moving forward, but has been delayed by the pandemic. One bit of newish information. There was a staff report that was along with the Public Works Department did a staff report that stated that they thought that construction was not going to start before June of 2021. So that was the first time that we sort of saw that date, but that's pretty much something that we had thought anyway. No new things other than that. There was sort of as you know, pretty much a rush to get this project done and get it done fast. And COVID happened, and now it's going what we would think of as sort of a regular speed, I think, in the library construction business, but it probably in Facebook time, it's going glacially slow. No new tidbits other than that we're looking at probably June for a start date for construction.
Okay, thanks. Any clarifying questions from the commission before taking public comment? I see Kristen's hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was wondering about like I'm a little confused that they're able to give a construction start date when we haven't even had any plans or any discussion about like what's going to be included. Any idea? Like, is this just like,
yeah,
we
well,
see how long the process is going to take, and we can imagine?
I think what they're doing is looking at, I think what they do is they sort of look at, it takes this long to get plans done. It takes this long for planning department submission and approval. It takes this long for city council submission and approval. And then from that point, it takes that long for them to develop detailed construction drawings and then begin construction. So it's basically, they're just sort of moving the timeline this way because of the pandemic is what it appears to be to me.
Great. Anybody else have a question before we open it to public comment? No? Okay. In that case, Nick, can you see if we have any public comment?
Sure. If any member of the public would like to address the Library Commission on this issue, use that little hand raise. I like to do this gesture. Judy does this during city council meetings. I like it. Raise your hand and I'll call on you and unmute your microphone, or you can type me a message. If you don't have a microphone, you can type your comment in the chat window and I'll read it out loud. I do not see any hand raised or any chat window comments.
Okay. Can I just ask, I'd like to ask a clarifying question related to our process rather than that. My understanding, Nick, from what I thought I heard you saying earlier was that we would not have the ability to chat with members of the public, but then I see that we actually have had chat comments from a member of the public, and my chat feature is telling me that I can type to all panelists or to all panelists and all members of the public. So for
Sure.
my benefit, would you just walk us through again what is and isn't able to happen here?
Sure. I think you're probably technologically able to chat back and forth with members of the public, but you are discouraged from doing so because that could be seen as having a discussion that's not visible to everybody, or in the same way, chatting back and forth about an issue with your fellow panelists, not in view of the public, is a violation of the Brown Act. So basically, let me handle the chat. Unless there's a technical issue, something that's going on with your setup or something that you need a question from me.
All right, and I see that we are being recorded, and then I'm assuming any comments that are coming through that are from the public are being recorded as well, is that right?
If they are on the live recording, yes. I do not think they save the chat log.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, then a library commission. Do we have any discussion related to the Bellhaven Community Center and library project? I see Kristen Leap's hand. Yes.
Nope, but I have, so it sounds like the community is allowed to chat at us, but we cannot chat at the community.
Yes.
Okay, and we cannot chat amongst ourselves.
I would prefer you not to, yes. Because
So
it could be seen as a violation of the Brown Act that you guys are having a conversation with other panelists that the public cannot see, because they cannot see the chat window when it's just panelists only.
is
I
there,
would prefer to not violate the Brown Act.
Then just ignore the chat window.
Nick, if we do have a chat from a member of the public, since we've had a good, today's example of it is a good way for us to just flesh out what our protocol is going to be. If somebody does mention something here, it was just a clarification on the time of the meeting we were talking about. But is there a protocol for if a member of the public chats when it's not during the public comment? Would we wait for you to read that into the record, if you will, or do we skip over it? How should we be responding or reacting or making note of that?
Yeah, I would say let me go ahead and handle that. Something like this where Pam just wanted to clarify something that she had said earlier, that's fine. And I would bring it to your attention. If someone's actually typing comments about something where the public comment period is closed or not yet open, then we would handle that in
Right. Or
in
if
the way
they're chatting after their 3 minutes has expired.
Right.
This is actually a perfect comment to bring this up, just so that we all are on the same page of how we're going to treat it. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Everybody good with that? Thank you. All right, then do we have any Library Commission discussion related to that brief update? Anyone need to talk about that anymore? No? Okay, if that's the case, looks like we would not have a motion, so we're going to move on to D4 on our agenda. Review and discuss the subcommittee report on Library Commission work plan. There was a staff report, so you should have all been able to see the details of what we came up with. And we are going to report out from the subcommittee on their actions. Nick's going to display the memo with the updated work plan. My notes, my chair notes do not say whether or not you're giving a summary of that, Nick, or if the members of the subcommittee that are commissioners are speaking on this point.
I figured I would give you guys a chance to report out. The subcommittee, if you'd like, I'm happy to do so. I can share the screen with the memo if you'd like. That way we all kind of know what we're talking about here. Everybody see that?
All right, okay, so if we are going to give a report, David or Yen, would one of you want to give a brief report on this? Because then we are going to, I think, have to ask for public comment And we're going to ask for clarifications, public comment, and then discussion of this. So do you want me to give a summary, or would one of you like to take that on? And I'm sorry, I can't see either of you. So if you do want to, feel free to just start speaking. And if you stay silent, I'll fill the void.
Well, I mean, I can speak. I think, Katie, you can chime in as well, since we were involved with the first pass at this. It goes back, I guess, after the first of the year, we met with the intention of reviewing the prior work plan, pruning it a bit, updating it a bit. For example, the first item on the Belhaven Community Center and Library project was elevated in the process. So we had, I guess, once they sort of finalized that, we're ready to bring it back to the commission many months, right before COVID hit. And then it kind of stalled when the meetings were canceled. And then at the last meeting on the 17th of July, we had the agreement to revisit it in light of the current situation as far as the facility availability as the impact of the pandemic. And then met on the 12th to update that. And I guess in summary, not a lot of change from what we had prepared prior to the COVID situation. But number 4 on this list now reflects very specifically the impact that was associated with that. And I think based on the comment from Commissioner Tran at the meeting on the 17th, it was the intent to try to find some language that explicitly called out the impact of that type of situation on the commission plan.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, David. Any clarifying questions from anyone before we ask for public comment? Again, I can't see. So Nick, please tell me if anyone has their hand raised, because I'm looking at your work screen.
I do
No?
not see any hands raised.
All right, in that case, Nick, would you please let us know if there is any public comment on this particular item?
Sure, if any member of the public has a comment that they'd like to address to the Library Commission at this time on this item, please use that little raised hand icon, or if your microphone doesn't work, you can type it out in the chat window and I can read it out to the commission. And I see no public comment.
Nick, are you able to tell us how many members of the public are with us tonight?
3.
Oh, wonderful. Well, welcome to the 3 of you. We appreciate you. All right, if that is the case, then I think we're opening it for the Library Commission discussion. And I do have a comment for all of you that is discussion of this. I was on the subcommittee. I'm really happy with what we came up with, but as I was reading through all the materials on the agenda today, and then even something we've spoken about earlier, I did realize that there isn't anything within our work plan that actually touches on our efforts to actually create liaisons with other library affiliates. And taking a look at that, I just thought there might be an opportunity maybe in item number 5 to just quickly integrate into that our efforts to have ongoing relationships and be apprised of the work of the library affiliates, and through those liaisonships through those efforts to create liaisons to each of those groups, we would schedule periodic commissioner reports related to those. And so I just thought it made sense to have that element included in our work plan. Any other comments on what I've said or on the entire work plan? And again, Nick, you'll have to tell us if someone's raising their hand because I can't see them.
I do not see any hands raised from other commissioners.
Okay, then let me ask a more pointed question, because I'm assuming the silence means everyone likes the work plan that we came up with. So let me just ask, what do you think of this element that I've just suggested weaving in perhaps at number 5? David, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually think it would go maybe augment 9 a little bit better. because that's sort of speaking about membership in the, sort of the commissioner role thing a little bit. If the
Right.
I mean, I don't think it really matters whether it's 9 or 5, but it seems like it's a little bit more aligned with, identifying commissioner, helping with the filling commission openings, and identifying these affiliate liaisons, that sort of thing. I mean, in terms of,
Yeah, and
either one of them. So.
yeah, that sounds fine to me. I just think we should probably have part of it be identifying the liaisons, and then also, meeting regularly and then reporting back. And it makes sense to me that where the reporting back would filter in would just be at the end of our meetings, when we always ask for commissioner reports or updates. Certainly if anyone had met with one of the affiliates, that would be the appropriate time to fill us in on it. So anyone else? It sounds like David isn't opposed to my suggestion, and we just have to fill it in. Does anyone else have a comment where, well, let me ask this. How about thumbs up or thumbs down, just as a quick, are we all on the same page? So if you think adding the language that I've mentioned works, do you want to give us a thumbs up? And then we can do a motion if we're going to pass this, or if we're going to go back to committee to finalize it. But thumbs up from Alan, I can see. Alan and David are the only two people I can see. So Nick, anybody?
Mayrin, Kristen, and Sukanya all have their thumbs up. I can't see Yen's thumb, whether it's up or not. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
don't see a thumb up.
Yen, what are your thoughts, since you are on the subcommittee as well? Does it make sense to you to have this be part of our language?
I guess I'm a little unsure about it, because it seems like it's sort of different from the intent of 5. The intent of 5 seems to be getting information from, I guess, libraries staff or library, staff presentations and reports. But I don't know if I guess I just don't know if those different groups are part of the library staff, or if they're sort of separate groups.
All right.
I can offer some clarification there. So the affiliate groups mentioned all 4 of them are independent 501c3 charitable nonprofit groups. They are totally separate and distinct from the city of Menlo Park and their staff. They're operated totally independently. Now, 3 of those groups, the Friends of the Library, the Menlo Park Library Foundation, and Literacy Partners, their sole mission basically is to fundraise to support library programs in all 3 cases, with some qualifications of which programs they fund. And the Historical Association, they're more just affiliate because museums and libraries go together like peanut butter and chocolate, and they also have an office in the main library. Well, I like peanut butter and chocolate. I just had a Reese's peanut butter cup before the meeting, so that's why I used that. But yes, they're totally independent, and there's no staff crossover or anything.
Yeah, honestly, when I was looking at all these, when it occurred to me as I was reading the different things we were going to be talking about today, what caught my eye in number 5 was just that was a numeral where we were talking about reports from things going on related to the libraries. And so it seemed to me, well, okay, these are affiliates who do work that is related to the library. Maybe that would be a good place. But I really just thought, since we have part of our intention to be liaisoned with those affiliates and know what they're doing and communicate out to them what we're doing, that somewhere in our work plan, it probably made sense to touch on the fact that we are trying to do that partnership and bridge. And where it was, I don't have any strong feeling about. Okay, Yen, do you want to go first? I see your hand up.
Kristen's hand was up first.
Oh, okay. The screen just went to where I can see everyone again.
My
So
apologies.
Kristen,
I forgot I was screen
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
go ahead.
you. I'm glad you were screen sharing, because I got to check something. We could also have a number 10.
Oh, we could also have a number 10. Yes, that's a great idea. Okay, Yen, did you go ahead?
I mean, I think we could have a number 10. I think that would be okay. But I think probably just getting rid of maybe the word staff would suffice. Right, so it's establish a plan and timeline to periodically receive presentations and reports about major library service areas and programs. I think that would include library staff as well as some of the affiliates. And we could be explicit, we could say or we could add in library staff and affiliate presentations, right? Just something.
I think maybe taking the word staff out makes a lot of sense, and then maybe library service areas, comma, programs, comma, and affiliates. Yeah, and I know was it last year or the year before, Sean, where we actually spent a meeting talking about the right term for these groups that are not part of city services, but that are related to libraries. And I think affiliates was the word that came out as the best way to term these organizations. So maybe to say library service areas, programs, and affiliates. Does that sit well with you, Sean, in terms of the different sides of the wall, the different rooms of this?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it sounds like maybe the commission's zeroing in on something you can actually make a motion about. So I think if you don't mind, Nick, I'll share my screen here. So this is the report on the work plan goals. And let's see, I think we're talking about number 5 here, which currently in the staff report says, establish a plan and timeline to periodically receive staff presentations and reports about major library service areas and programs. So I think what I just heard was to simply remove the word staff.
Right.
So you could just do, I won't do it in here, but just remove the word staff. Oh, here we go. Okay. And would that accomplish what you all are looking to kind of include here?
Well, the only thing that I just touched on was service areas and programs. I'm asking your opinion, Sean. Does that sort of just mean city services? And do we need to add and affiliates to it to satisfy the fact that some of these are from organizations outside of the city services that also run in the library space? And I see David has his hand up. So David, go ahead.
Yeah, I would suggest not, modifying 5 in this way. For one reason is it is, I believe, very strongly associated with receiving staff presentations. I mean, this is the conduit between library staff and the commission. So I really don't want to dilute that. And I thought last year we had come to the conclusion it was somewhat an awkward process for the affiliates to come and give presentations to the commission.
Right. That's why we're planning to avoid that awkward process and maybe ill will by having a liaison where we each report on what the others are doing.
Right. So I don't think that's accomplished by adding and affiliates to the end of this sentence. I think I think a person reading that would say, oh, there are going to be presentations by affiliates. So I'm.
What if you phrased it like that?
And put staff back in?
Sure, I can live with that. Yes.
Anyone else have any thoughts about it or not? And I'm sorry, I know this is probably more of the subcommittee work that I'm pushing on all of you, and it really was just a thought that I had about if we're going to invest the time in doing those things, we should make mention of it in our work plan. So if does anyone else have any comments at this point?
Yen does.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is fine. I would like us to sort of move forward with kind of voting on the work plan. I don't think we need to spend too much more time on it. I think that it is really good. I think that it is really good already. So I think that it's probably about time to push it forward to the next step.
Okay, anyone else? Anything else?
Dan, did you want to make a motion?
I'll move ahead on that, okay? Thank you. At this point, all right. So what, according to my notes and the way I'd like to do it going forward is that I'll just ask the staff liaison to state the motion, and then we'll move forward with someone.
Well, I think,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Katie, I think I need to hear a motion from or a proposed motion from the commission or from a commissioner first. And then if it's not clear, I can restate it and then we can vote on it that way. Does that sound, I don't have the city clerk here to check me
Okay,
out
that's fine.
on my Robert's Rules of Orders, but
No, that's fine. I'm going on my chair notes, and that's not quite what my chair notes say, but that's fine with me. So,
That's what I remember from the rules in the past.
okay.
yeah, that may be the fault of the person who wrote the chair notes, who was me. So
No, that's all right. In that case, would someone like to make a motion? And Kristen, I think you were going to make the motion. So would you like to make that?
Okay, I move that we adopt the commission work plan as amended.
Okay. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay. Then staff liaison, Nick, would you like to take a roll call vote on the stated motion?
sure, I will do so. I'll start with the order on my screen. So Chair Hadrovich, how do you vote?
I approve it.
Chair, Commissioner Bunyagit,
Approve.
Vice Chair Earhart,
Approve.
Commissioner Cohen, Commissioner Leap,
In favor.
Commissioner Tran,
Yes.
and Commissioner Guha.
Approve.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so D5 is the review, discuss library services during the COVID pandemic, and we did have a staff report. And Nick's going to make a verbal presentation on the library services and response to the pandemic so far, but this is mainly a place for commissioners and the public to ask questions and make suggestions. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Right, so the commission at their last meeting was interested in hearing sort of the library's service response to the pandemic, and also some of the particulars about how staff were responding procedurally to the pandemic. So sorry for a little bit of a data dump there in the staff report. I know that's a lot of information to read, but I think from that, what you can take away is that sort of procedures that are in place are strong. And they were sort of thoughtfully done. We didn't just sort of jump back in to providing services. And I think also from seeing those procedures for how we carry out things like curbside service, and also the PowerPoint, which was a staff presentation to other staff about returning to work at city facilities. You can see sort of some of the restrictions that we're under to operate things safely, both for staff members who are on site returning to work in a limited fashion, and to keep things safe for members of the public. So just briefly, some of these things were mentioned, I think, in Sean's report last month. But right after the shelter in place went into effect, the library came out with the Books by Mail program, which was a partnership with Kepler's Bookstore to send materials directly to library customers. We would just purchase them using funds from the Friends of the Library and the Library Foundation. and send things directly to customers because we couldn't get physically into the building at that point. We then sort of piled onto that with a Seeds by Mail program. It's our popular seed library, which we had just launched before we closed. And we mailed seeds to library users, which that was pretty cool, actually. I have to pat Sean on the back for that one. That was that was a pretty cool thing to do.
All the credit belongs with the United States Postal Service.
There you go. The Seeds by Mail program. So both of those programs were very successful, and out of them, I think, are going to grow some other some other services, including services to homebound customers or folks who are immunocompromised who can't come and do the curbside service for whatever reason. We now sort of have a method or some methods worked out for getting library materials directly to people. I know I'm probably leaving some things out. We did a Community Reads program partnership with Kepler's Books, which was very successful. We're doing now our appointment-based curbside service where folks will put holds on library materials, make an appointment, and then come in and pick them up. And that is a contactless pickup service. Hopefully you guys have taken advantage of that. And we're exploring other ways of expanding our virtual holdings. We have expanded the number of ebooks we have. We've expanded the amount of things you can stream, both audio and video. And we're looking at other ways all the time to sort of increase those virtual services because we may be at this shelter in place for some time. But also we're finding with the provision of virtual programming, for instance, which has been very popular, that we may continue doing that even when we're past the shelter in place period, because it's very convenient for people and we can really offer some quality programs remotely that we will probably continue to offer in some fashion, even when we are allowed to have folks back in the building. I'll stop at that point because I went on for a bit and see if anyone has any questions for me about the library's service response during the pandemic, or any questions about the pandemic protocols that we're working under, or any other questions.
Great. Well, first, any clarifying questions from the commission before taking the public comment? No questions. Okay. Nick, do you want to call for our public comment?
Sure thing. If any member of the public would like to comment on this item, please use that raised hand feature or type a message in chat. And I see one comment from Pam Jones. Pam, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. I think we're playing unmute again. There we go. Go ahead and give your public comment.
Pam Jones here. I just want to say that the programs that have been offered have been absolutely amazing. And there's multiple things every week, which is really great. I took part in one of your how to plant things, how to do your outdoor garden, and have grown this lovely tomato plant. First time in over 30 years that I've had any plants, and it just has an abundance of cherry tomatoes. So I'm now about ready to plant my seeds that I received by mail. A mulatto isleno pepper, which I've never heard of, but that's okay. And I look forward to future seeds by mail because it was really a good way to get great seeds. I am thrilled that you are an active part of the emergency services and events, and I hope that you will include a plan for what we do with this heat wave. This is the second one. It's lasting longer than we have in previous decades, and undoubtedly there will be more. And we have a good-sized city that has a lot of people that may have needs that we're unaware of because we don't have an outreach program. I'm taking advantage of this being the first meeting of the week, so that's why I'm bringing it up here, and it's under communications. And the other part of communications, I'm fortunate because I get the alerts, but there's a lot of people in the city that aren't aware of signing up for alerts, and maybe the only way they're getting their information is through Nextdoor. not that I'm an advocate for Nextdoor, or on Facebook. I'm no longer on Facebook, so you may be posting there. But I really encourage you to look at additional methods to get the information out of these programs so that people throughout the city are aware of how much you're doing. There's excellent educational pieces, fun pieces. I look at the things that Avita's doing for the seniors. And, you know, we really want, and it's not just for seniors, we really want the whole city to be aware and to participate. So again, thank you for all of the wonderful work you're doing in both community and library services. And yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jones. Okay, open for Library Commission discussion. Would anyone like to make a comment or discuss? Yes, Mayrin, go ahead.
Yes, Pam brought up a great point. I was thinking of, I think I had mentioned in the last meeting of ways to outreach a different way, knowing that I know as a teacher, schools are happening now. If there's a way, or I could be maybe the liaison to get the information, those lovely newsletters, but make it like a specific one that goes to like the school office managers of all the schools, or because I know, for example, Beechwood, I forward them to my school manager who will put it into our like e-newsletter that's going to go out every week. But if there's a way we could, or me or whoever, if we could contact those specific liaisons in a way for schools, then I think that'll reach like at least the families in Menlo Park that have school age, you know, which is a huge amount of people. Because yeah, I think by talking to the residents and the families at Beechwood, you know, they weren't aware of like, you know, cool things about the curbside or being able to rent out movies or ebooks and the plants and even just the little libraries. Yeah, like Pam was saying, there's lots of great stuff, I guess, thinking out, you know, outside the box. What else besides the newsletter, how we can outreach, knowing that we can't physically go to places to outreach, what that might look like. You know, the Facebook might be another great way, or I know Facebook Marketplace, I do on Sundays, Facebook does their farmers market. Maybe there's a way we can include a flyer to those families or something, because a lot of them are also will be wanting to use those resources.
Yeah,
Great,
I think
great
you make a good point, Mayrin, and I think the library is always looking for ways to get information out there. So we will make sure that we bring that back to the library's communication team. They do, I know, they do reach out to some of the area school newsletters, but some of them are like not run by the districts, they're run by PTA groups or parent groups. So the newsletter contacts sometimes change for the person who you're supposed to send the information to. That's not an excuse, that's just an exclamation why sometimes we hit some and not others. But I agree, I think the library could do there's always more that we could do to get the good word out there.
And if I could just add to that, yeah, great suggestion. It's kind of a perennial thing to work on, is how do you get the word out, and people, the way they get and receive information changes, and the pandemic has completely upended it again. We are in the process of updating the department's strategic plan for library and community services, and certainly the Library Commission will be part of that process. And one of the major goal areas is communications. So maybe when we bring the strategic plan item back, it'll have a little bit more detail about kind of here's how we are planning to do communications and outreach, and then that will give the Library Commission more opportunity to kind of weigh in, like here's how, you know, whether it's Nextdoor or whether it's flyers at certain events or subscribing school liaisons to email lists or keeping a separate list and target them. All that is really great stuff and perfect for the strategic plan.
Okay, anyone else want to give a comment or discussion? No? Okay. All right, I don't think we have a motion related to this, so The next item is to review and update the Library Commission agenda calendar, which was an attachment in the minutes. And I don't think we don't do any public comments related to our calendar, do we? I don't have anything in my notes, but
Not
next-
usually,
Okay.
no, but
okay, so it's just a work product for us. Okay,
Right.
just making sure. So does anyone have any comments or suggestions about our next meetings? Or the parking lot that we have at the bottom? Nick,
I would call to your attention just in reference to the earlier conversation about library affiliates. At the bottom of here is their schedule in the before times, BC before Corona, but those were the dates that they usually maintained back then.
right, so we're gonna revisit that issue, I think, in September, just to have some information about what their meetings might be during COVID, and then hopefully we can finalize who might be being a liaison for each of those groups in September. Anyone else see something that is either on the calendar now or that you'd like to add to the calendar? No? I'm looking at the screen, so I can't see everyone, but if nobody else has any comment, I think then we can move on to informational items. Is that right? Okay, David has his hand up. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I don't have in front of me the prior version of the calendar, but I guess I'd ask staff. The items that are in for the September meeting are updated to reflect the current situation. I know from the budget conversation with the city, the ILS stuff was one of those topics that needed to be re-quoted or something like that right now. Is that the case? Is that why that's on there for next month?
Yes, we're going to be putting out a request for proposals for the library catalog system. And so we wanted to run that by the Library Commission.
Thank you.
Anybody, anything else? Again, I can't see everyone, so if you do have a comment, just go ahead and start speaking because I can't see you. And if not, no? Okay, then it looks like we can move on to informational items. Informational items are transmitted to the Library Commission in staff's efforts to provide an update on matters of importance to the Commission. Informational items are not action items. However, a commissioner, staff, city staff member, or a member of the public may request to make a comment or ask a question on any of the informational items. Nick, do we have any public comment on informational items?
I'll ask if any member of the public has a comment to make on the informational items, which is the Library and Community Services Director's Report. Please raise your hand. I see no comments.
Okay. Okay, does anyone else have any comment on this? I think we're moving past this very quickly because we don't seem to have an informational item, right? Yes, you're just
We've
giving
got the director's report, but I mean, if you don't have any, there's no need to comment on it unless you have a question or a comment that you'd like to make. So.
Okay. Anyone? No? Okay. Library and Community Services Department update. Sean is available to answer any questions about his departmental update.
Yes, and I'll just add that the update's really brief this month because there's such a huge mass of material already in your packet about the pandemic response and everything. We thought that was plenty of information there.
Yes, okay. So finally, advisory body member reports. Any reports from Library Commission members since the last meeting? Anyone have anything that they want to report to us? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. In that case, it looks like we can adjourn the meeting. So thank you, everyone.